I'm Sean. I'm a nonprofit executive with over 2 decades of experience of managing nonprofits from the brink of a going concern to strong, healthy, financially stable, mission forward organizations creating more impact than ever before. Now I'm stepping into a role of helping executive directors of nonprofits think outside the box and find new and inventive ways to disrupt how they handle the business of running a nonprofit. And I am an evangelist for outsourcing departmental functions for below the line nonprofit needs to outsource financial firms or fractional services. So today I want to talk specifically about whether or not you as a nonprofit leader need a chief operating officer as a full-time employee of your organization. So now we have to think about how we surround ourselves as executive directors with complementary leaders to our skill sets as executive directors. We already know that we are promoted to executive director because we have a strong relationship leading to fundraising for the organization and stability between our organization's strategic guidance and the donors and investors of our organization. And we need to continue to execute and spend our time strengthening the relationships between the organization and those that are making the donations that are helpful to the organization, having the beans and bullets to execute the most important aspect of what you do, which is the other component of your role as a leader. Looking at how you can continue to expand the excellence of your mission and make sure that the organization's programmatic execution is top notch. That is your differentiating factor as a nonprofit, and it should be the sole focus of you as an executive director. Now, we know it's our job to surround ourselves with leaders that complements our skill set as the primary mission and fundraiser for the organization. The challenge we have as a leader is that we spend a disproportionate amount of our time focused on below the line execution, programmatic leadership that every aspect of the organization is required to run an effective nonprofit. All of the teams and all of the employees of the organization look to us as executive directors for guidance on how to execute the vital parts of an organization's business execution. However, we're not experts in leading that. So we find ourselves either exposed because we don't know how to guide the KPIs and organizational management of the departments that are the backbone of the business aspect of the organization, or worse, we're providing improper guidance to the teams to be able to manage the organization's business. So the question is, do you need a COO, a generalist that understands the multi-pronged approach to managing the organization's below the line resources, that understands what goes in at a high level to running the organization's finance and accounts payable and accounts receivable departments, the accounting processes for generally accepted accounting principles, the legal component that goes into securing the organization, the HR aspects that go into making sure the organization is protected, the PR components that make sure the organization is putting its best foot forward and managing KPIs to get the organization exposed to new areas and new potential donors. The development team's KPIs that make sure the organization is managing its influx of non-principal and non-major gifts, making sure that that aspect is being managed properly, to make sure there's a strong strategy in place to cut organizations' costs, reduce overhead expenses, and put more of the organization's resources into what you already know is so important to the organization. You need a partner and an MVP that you can hand over the reins of managing the organization's internal components and the business aspects of what's going on at the organization to somebody that knows what they're doing so that you can focus on what's going on externally, the fundraising at a principal gift level, the building the strong fundamental aspects of programmatic execution that's so important to your organization as a differentiator and proprietary component of your organization's success. That's where you should be focused. So the more time you're spending around the table with your leadership team and you're trying to guide them without the knowledge that goes into that process, the less time you're spending doing what's most important for your organization. So I'm going to challenge you to think outside of the box on how we can bring that resource, that middle connection between you and what you know is right for the organization and what you were hired to do so well, and the business component of the organization. Now, the good news here is in order to find a strong MVP, it can be really expensive as an FTE. Someone that knows data management, that knows CRM building, that knows how to manage the accounting process of an organization and all the components that go below the line. That generalist is really hard to find. So it gets really expensive to manage that aspect of your organization. And then you're kind of defeating the purpose of what goes into having a full time employee that's helping the organization reduce your overhead costs. However, I'm going back to the point of what we're talking about today is like, can you find an outsourced fractional leader to be your right hand, to be your Scottie Pippen to your Michael Jordan, to be the person that can help you do the basics of running an organization, making sure the KPIs are put in place so the organization can be stable and protected, but also make sure that you are spending your time properly and helping you channel your energy to where you know the organization needs you most. That liaison, that chief operating officer is going to be a vital part of your organization. It doesn't require a full-time employee to execute. It requires a convener in the middle to make sure the organization is building forward. So if you have a full staff of FTEs and you need somebody as a middle ground to make sure they're being managed properly, consider a COO internally to manage all the aspects of the organization and then give you a single point reporting structure that allows you to understand what's going on at the organization. If you're doing what I believe you should be doing, and that's looking at managing external resources and third parties for outsourcing entire departmental execution through fractional leadership and outsourced firms, you still need that middle person as a liaison between what's going on and the data being required and managed through the organization so that you don't have to spend your time stewarding relationships with third-party consultants. You still have that person helping you. So now we're starting to think outside the box of how you can have a fractional person at a half the cost of running a full-time employee as a COO, helping you through just streamlining the approach of reporting for the organization and making sure that you're protected on all and making sure that you are running an effective and impactful organization. So like, subscribe, comment below, and let's start a conversation about whether you or not you think a COO is required at a nonprofit. So let's think of different ways we can define what goes into managing these organizations and think of ways we can help streamline our approach so that we're doing what we were hired to do, scale and build a nonprofit that's helping the community we're desired to help. You, as an executive director, are the community steward for the organization, from donors to programmatic execution. So take the time to think about when you lay your head in bed at night and you cuddle up in your pillow, are you comfortable that you as a leader directly reporting and managing all aspects of the below the line components of running an organization or doing what's right by the organization? Or could you ease the burden every day if you had a chief operating officer helping you along the way? Like, subscribe, comment below, and let's start a conversation. And stay tuned for the next in this series of conversations about whether or not we need these leadership functions to be FTEs within our organization. Thanks so much and have a great day.